Hello, welcome back once again to Urban X-Files. My name is Keith, and today's video is someone's own personal experience of a friend's haunted house. It says, I had a paranormal experience in my friend's house, of which at the time I didn't know was haunted. I was still at school at the time, and my dad used to meet me at dinner time. This particular day, he took me to his friend's house. We had just arrived and I didn't feel right there. There was just something I couldn't put my finger on. At the time, I didn't know I was sensitive to feeling the spirit world. Now, after a while, I asked if I could go to the toilet. I was shown where it was, and when I was inside the toilet, I could hear someone moving around outside the door, and I shouted, but nobody answered. Hello? I'm just in the bathroom, is anyone there? Nothing. All of a sudden, the door handle went crazy, as though someone was desperate to try and get inside to the toilet. I shouted again, and still no answer. The door handle was still going crazy, and then, all of a sudden, it stopped. I waited, and waited, and began to wonder, should I just run downstairs or shall I shout my dad? I started shouting my dad, but no one came, so I plucked up the courage to run down the stairs. But when I tried to open the door was locked. I pulled as hard as I could and the door flew open, and I ran down the stairs as quickly as I could, not looking back. When I got downstairs, I was in such a state. I told my dad and his friend what happened, and they just looked at each other. My dad's friend explained that they didn't want to say anything to me, but his house was incredibly haunted. A little while after moving into the house, they began to hear a baby crying upstairs in one of the bedrooms, and only when they reached the top of the staircase, it stopped. Often items would go missing from the house and be found the next day, somewhere in the garden. One day, when Dad's friend and his brother returned to the house, they heard banging and moving going on upstairs. They thought it was a burglar, or they thought it could have been his girlfriend, so they run upstairs, and his girlfriend expected to be in one of the rooms, and it wasn't. As 2 minutes later, his girlfriend walked through the door as she'd come back from work. So they looked and quickly ran up the stairs, thinking it was a burglar, and they got to the top of the stairs, and strangely, all of the lights had been turned on. His girlfriend's clothes had been thrown all over the bedroom as though it was ransacked looking for something in particular. The bath was full of water, and the bathroom had items thrown all over the floor. They tidied up the rooms and decided to go out for a pizza, switching off all the lights. When they returned, the lights were all switched back on. After this, they asked the priest to bless the house, but this did not stop the activity. They moved to another house and thankfully have not experienced anything like it in their new house. What did you think of the story? The next story is about a ghost who returned. The story goes, we first moved into our house sometime in the 90s, and from day one, things started to happen. We would return home and the heating would be turned off, the TV and video would be unplugged, and on the odd occasion, we found the TV switched on in our bedroom, when we know for certain that it was off before we left the house. We tried to ignore what was going on at first. We even tried to blame each other for doing the things and forgetting that we had done them. This worked for a while, until my niece and her boyfriend looked after our house while we was away. My niece on several occasions felt someone touch her on the shoulder and heard an odd muffled bang from upstairs in one of the bedrooms. Needless to say, they didn't offer to stay in the house again. On another occasion, some friends came round for tea, and after eating, we all sat chatting in the sitting room when we heard an awful bang from the kitchen. At first we thought it was the bird cage had fallen down, as it was hanging from the ceiling near the stairs. But after checking both the kitchen and upstairs, nothing could be found to give us an explanation of what this bang was. So life continued with all these things being moved or completely vanishing, never to be seen again. Until one night my husband woke to see a figure standing next to our bed. The ghost was a man of about 40 years old, wearing pyjamas and a dressing gown. He seemed to be looking for something on my husband's bedside cabinet, and was visible long enough for us to notice a lot of detail. He had dark curly hair, and the dressing gown was of a plaid material, and the strange thing was my husband felt no fear, and the ghost gently faded away. We decided to ask some questions of our neighbours about who lived in the house before us, hoping to shed some light on our ghost. Next door lived a very understanding old couple that had lived next door for over 50 years. Surely they would know. They didn't laugh when we mentioned these experiences. When we told them the description of the ghost, they realised who it was. It was the man who lived in the house, and he died of cancer in his 40s. We still hear the odd bang and things still move around the house, but if we can't find something, we just ask our ghosts to return it back to its original position. I have to say, we are no longer frightened in this house, and even our dogs, who used to be very nervous, are okay now and accept the ghost as just another resident in our house. The old couple next door recently told us that our house has changed owners many times over the years, and I can only think that we are the only family that didn't mind sharing their home with a friendly ghost. What did you think of these crazy stories? Did you think they had some truth to it? Have you ever experienced your own personal friendly ghost? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed these stories. As always, take care, be safe, and see you in the next video. Peace.